All right, let's dive into one of the biggest puzzles in modern finance. We're going to unpack a really fascinating paper from the Reggio Calabria International Seminar. It's all about this paradox. Why do billions of dollars in AI investments so often fail to deliver? And how, just maybe, Bank of America has cracked the code. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the core problem head-on, the AI productivity paradox. Then, we'll explore a really innovative idea from the paper, one that connects old-school IT architecture to modern AI. After that, we'll see it all come to life with the Bank of America case study, quantify the, frankly, incredible results with a concept called operational leverage, and finally, we'll land on the most surprising takeaway of all, how good governance can actually be an accelerator.
Okay, let's get right to the heart of the matter. Banks are pouring billions into artificial intelligence, right? They're expecting this massive revolution. But what happens more often than not? That revolution just kind of fizzles out. This huge gap between the promise of AI and the reality on the ground is what this paper calls the AI productivity paradox.
So this leads us to the fundamental question. What's actually going wrong here? Why are so many brilliant AI projects, these proofs of concept, getting stuck in the lab? They work, sure, but they never seem to break out and become a core, value-generating part of the bank's DNA. What's the roadblock?
Well, some of the biggest names in consulting, McKinsey and KPMG, they've actually put a name to it. They call it the execution gap. It's this nagging disconnect between what AI could do and what it actually does. And they point to three main culprits: a clunky operating model, a lack of solid governance, and maybe most importantly, poor data readiness. You just can't build a skyscraper on a shaky foundation.
Now, this is where the paper gets really interesting. Instead of treating AI like it's this brand new alien thing, it argues we should actually look to the past for some answers. It builds this fascinating theoretical bridge from an older IT concept called service-oriented architecture, you'll hear it called SOA, all the way to the modern world of decision intelligence.
So, what on earth was SOA? Well, think of it like a universal adapter for a bank's entire IT mess. You used to have all these different siloed systems, one for loans, one for accounts, another for trading, and none of them could talk to each other. SOA came along and created a common language, a set of modular services that finally allowed them to connect and coordinate.
And this comparison just makes it all click. See, SOA was all about system integration. It was about connecting the IT plumbing. But decision intelligence, this new paradigm, it's about decision integration. The goal is no longer just to make the systems talk to each other, it's to embed algorithmic logic right into the core decision-making engine of the entire company. It's a huge shift in focus.
And that is the central thesis. The paper's big idea is that AI isn't some strange new beast. It's just the next logical step. We spent decades figuring out how to connect our systems. Now the real challenge is to automate and, this is the crucial part, to properly govern the intelligent decisions that those systems are starting to make for us.
So, a great theory, but how do we test it in the real world? Well, the paper uses Bank of America as its proving ground, and it does this through a really rigorous archival single case study. Let's see how it plays out.
And the methodology here is absolutely key to the study's credibility. It doesn't just take the bank at its word. No. It triangulates three totally different types of sources. First, corporate documents, to see what the bank said it was doing. Second, regulatory filings from the Fed and others to understand the external rules of the game. And third, those big industry reports we mentioned, which act as a crucial reality check.
What the analysis found was that Bank of America's success comes down to a four-dimensional approach. Strategically, they live by a high-tech, high-touch philosophy, using tech for efficiency, but keeping humans in the loop for complex stuff. Technologically, they built their own data architecture from scratch. From a governance perspective, they embedded rigorous risk management from day one. And finally, on the human level, the goal was always to augment their people, not just replace them.
To really get a sense of their commitment, just look at this number. Between 2014 and 2019, Bank of America invested $3 billion. And this wasn't for flashy AI models. Nope. This was for the hard, unglamorous, foundational work of just standardizing their data. They essentially built a defensible data moat before they even thought about building the castle.
And the payoff for all that foundational work? Well, their AI assistant, Erica, has handled over 3 billion customer interactions. Let that sink in. This isn't some pilot program. This is industrial-scale AI, live in the wild, proving that massive upfront investment was absolutely worth it.
So let's turn to the results and see how this all translates into one of the most powerful concepts in economics, operational leverage.
This is really about the magic of decoupling business growth from the costs you need to support that growth.
So what is operational leverage in this context? It's the ability to handle way more business and make more money without having to hire more people at the same rate. And how do you do it? You do it by systematically transforming the fixed, linear cost of a person's salary into the scalable, almost limitless capacity of computing power.
And the result of this strategy is frankly staggering. While its business volumes and revenues were growing, Bank of America actually reduced its workforce by 72,000 people, from a peak of 285,000 down to 213,000. That is a truly dramatic demonstration of decoupling in action.
This chart just says it all. You can see it right here. Operating volumes go up, and at the same time, headcount goes down. This is the holy grail of efficiency that so many companies are chasing, but very few actually manage to achieve. This is what industrial-scale AI, done right, makes possible.
A quote, paraphrased from their own reports, basically gives away the entire economic strategy. The goal is transforming the fixed costs of personnel into scalable computing capacity. It's such a simple idea, but it has profoundly powerful consequences.
And all of this brings us to the paper's final, and maybe its most counterintuitive argument. It's an idea with huge lessons for banks everywhere, but especially for those in Europe. It's the idea that governance, all the rules and risk management that everyone thinks slows you down, is actually the secret to going faster. The research really boils it all down to 3 critical lessons. First, you have to treat AI as a strategic lever that's tied to real business goals, not just as another cool IT project. Second, you have to see governance as an enabler. A solid risk framework is what gives you the confidence to scale up quickly without breaking everything. And third, you have to build this capability in-house. A real, durable competitive advantage isn't something you can just buy off the shelf.
So, let's end on this one powerful thought. In this global race to unlock sustainable value from AI, we've got to stop thinking of governance as the brake pedal. Because in a world of complex, high-stakes decisions, a robust governance framework isn't the brake. It's the engine that drives trust, scalability, and ultimately success.